Peugeot has a wide range of models, and today we are in the Swedish countryside to look at their family offering. This is the new e-5008, their electric version of their flagship big SUV. This is the 7-seater version, obviously suitable if you have a big family or you carry a lot of people around. This is a car that's important to Peugeot because it comes in basically all the variations. We got the fully electric here, there will be a plug-in hybrid later, and there will also be a regular hybrid. So you can choose any kind of powertrain variation that suits your needs exactly. Today we're going to show you around the whole car inside and out here in the Swedish countryside, starting with the front. I think this is a very recognizable Peugeot front. Obviously we got some nice LED headlights, and with the claws here on the side it is very recognizable as a Peugeot. We got the sensors here down below. There's no frunk, so nothing to see under the hood. But when we walk down the side here, you can see that this is a large vehicle. More than 4.70 meters long, more than 1.80 meters wide. It is a big car, but of course it seats 7. And as you'll see in the inside later, they've done it in a clever way, so you can configure it depending on your needs of the day. So that's actually quite nice. So we are starting in the front of the vehicle with the cockpit overview. Now obviously a lot of things you see here are highly dependent on the trim level you get. The main thing that stands out is this. This is the floating cockpit. So that's Peugeot's infotainment system. You have your driver display. Now obviously you can configure this. So obviously on this screen you can also control everything from your Klima and your Navi and your phone settings. But to get there, you move to the secondary screen. Now this is interesting because this is, you might think at first glance, like why didn't they just make buttons? Isn't that easier? Yes, it would be, but this is multifunctional. So you can actually swipe here and get different tiles. So you can go to your application drawer, your driver aids, your Navi, your Klima, all the things. And this is also configurable. Now that's also an interesting one because this is the now sort of well-known, loved and hated small Peugeot steering wheel. So the goal of this small steering wheel is that there's less obtrusion in front of you and that you look over the steering wheel to your instrument cluster. Most steering wheels you look through it, here you look over it. That's for example also why there's no head-up display necessary, because this is effectively already your head-up display. Then on the steering wheel we have some pedals for your regen braking, and all your traditional controls are here behind the steering wheel, so your wipers and your light settings. Then when we move to the front of the steering wheel, it is all capacitive buttons, but it is one giant clickable sort of area. And here you have things like your cruise control on the left and your volume control, phone, voice, and all that stuff on the right. And then you have your driving mode button over here. So you can go to Eco, Normal, and Sport. Then you have your alarm button, and you have some volume control. Turn the radio off altogether, and your parking button over here. Now this strip is all piano black, and you know how I feel about that. This will be nice about 5 minutes until you leave the dealer, and then it will be fingerprinty and dusty for the rest of your life. I don't know why it is in cars, to be honest. There's a little bit more of that here behind the steering wheel, but it's not that bad because you don't touch this so often, but it will collect a lot of dust, of course, because you sit here and a lot of dust falls out of your skin and out of your hair. So that will also be permanently dusty. Moving further down, we have a relatively deep bin down here. I'll show you how big it is by putting my phone in. That's quite large, so that's nice. It has a 12-volt socket and 2 USBs. And you can also close this off, and then it becomes sort of a shelf idea. It's kind of nice because you can also put stuff on here, but as soon as you go around the corner, this will slide everywhere and fall off. So that is a little bit annoying, and then you have a very designy button to open this. It's not really stuck actually, but then it opens this way. The pins are triangular, and we noticed earlier that if you have like a cardboard milk pack or water pack, for example, and you put that in, that will get stuck underneath. It's not an issue for any hard plastic bottles, that will be fine, but anything that is slightly softer and you can indent it, it will get stuck underneath. So that's the thing to consider. This is the key, by the way. Pretty standard Peugeot key, nothing really fancy going on here. Then we have a bit of storage here in the central bin under your elbow. This is quite a deep bin, and it will actually go underneath, I'd say up till here. So you can actually lose things there if you don't pay attention. Like your keys, for example, will slide forward and you won't see them. If you consider that this car weighs close to 2 tons, 23% is about 500 kilos of recycled materials in here. Sitting here in this cockpit, this has to be your personal taste. This is something that you either really like or don't like at all. And I would really recommend, if you are considering this car, that you spend some time in the cockpit working with the screens and seeing if that is your cup of tea. If you come from a Volkswagen product, for example, it is very different and it's really something else than what those cars offer. And that is a lot of personal preference if you can live with that or not. This navigation screen, for example, it's just small. It's not much bigger than your phone. And the same goes for something like this down here, for example. It's another screen that you have to operate. And yes, you can customize it, and yes, you can do a few things with it, but a real button is just easier. So for me personally, I think this looks very nice, but I prefer a different kind of interface. Then we have to talk about the steering wheel, of course. I really dislike that. It's sort of square on the top and the bottom, and then semicircular on the side. It's not pleasant. I don't like how this rolls through my hands when I go around the corner, for example. So again, that is something typical Peugeot, with a small steering wheel philosophy and having to look over it. It's something you have to get used to for sure, but also something that you'll either love or hate. So again, when you are considering this car, it is definitely worth it for an extended test drive to see if you can live with this kind of operation of your car. When we move down the back, you can again see the classic 3 stripes from Peugeot. Again, very recognizable. I think they do that well to carry that design language throughout all their models. I'll show you the boot right away as well, which is a bit of an issue. If you come down here, the button for the boot is down here. And you can see this is also immediately dirty. So you have to reach all the way in here and your hand will get dirty. Opening it up, you can see it is huge in here. More than 750 liters, 2 hand luggages in here. If I slide them all the way to the back and stack them up a little bit, you can see how much space there is in here. So that is fantastic. So the parcel shelf of this extra storage bin fits upright. So you can actually use this, for example, to store your groceries behind here so that it doesn't fly around too much. So that's nice. And then when you're done with it, you can just plop it back in here and you have a nice flat loading area. So 750 liters, more than usable, more than enough space. And obviously you can fold these seats down, then you have even more space. You can't do that from back here though, so you have to walk around and do it. I'll do that for you here. Now to fold the seats down, there's 2 options. You can use this handle to lay them flat, and there's a handle up here to move the seat to get into the 3rd row. I will show you both. So first, to put the seats flat, you pull the handle and it can go flat, and then you can see how much space there is. You can go all the way here. Then Peugeot claims it's 2,000 liters. I believe them. That is a large area that you can use for bikes, surfboards, whatever can fit in the length. You can probably even sleep back here if you would want to. So to put the 3rd row seats up, obviously to get into them you need to get rid of this. So let's start with that. You have to throw it out. You don't want that. So you want to keep that in the car. Now we take this one out. And you can see there's extra space here to accommodate this. You have to work it a little bit. But you can actually fit this in here. So that's great that you don't lose this or have to put that somewhere else. And then you can just cover it up with this one. Good solution. Then you can see the 2 seats here. So you have to pull those up. And the other one too. And then you have the seats. Now, if you go to the other side, I will show you here how you get into them. Peugeot is very proud of this to show that we have extra space. So there's a lever on top here that you can pull in one go. And then you have this huge opening here to get into, because this seat actually moves 15 centimeters forward to create this opening. And as you can see, as a 90-kilo adult, it's a bit of a squeeze, but I can easily get out through here. So now I'll go back in and show you how much space there is in the back. Well, obviously, being 183, it's not great. But that said, I said that before that the seats slide 15 centimeters. So this is now in the furthest back position to give the middle row the most space as possible. So I can still use it and move it forward a bit. And then it's not too bad, I have to say. I mean, yes, my legs are almost off the bench, and yes, my knees are touching here, but I have my own headrest. I have a seat belt, always well. I even have a 12-volt connection and a cup holder, and I'm actually perfectly fine back here. Now, clearly, obviously, I'm not going to sit here for a long journey to the ski holiday, but for a short trip, this is more than fine for somebody my size. Once you start piling more adults and more things in here, obviously it gets cramped, because if I sit next to myself, we're touching shoulders for sure. But for kids, for the occasional adult you need to drive around, no problem. And actually it's quite nice solution with these flexible seats that can move forward and backward, that you can actually create the space back here. So yeah, that's actually pretty well done. Now obviously when you put all seats up, your boot space will be severely compromised. So you go from 750 that we saw earlier to about 250 liters like this. And then when you're done with your 7-seaters, you pull the loop over here. And you can fold it all flat again, and then you have all your space. It is actually quite nice that it's 2 separate seats, so you can also configure it the way you want. So if you only need 1 extra passenger but still need space for hockey sticks or whatever you might take, you can also do that. Depending on who you need to carry and what you need to carry, you can be flexible with your seat arrangement. So that's actually quite nice that it's versatile this way, and it doesn't force you into using it in one single way, but you have the option to sort of mix and match as you need. Sitting here in the second row, we start with the door. Now this is the same material as in the front, also with the same illumination, so that is nice, consistency. But this might not be plastic, but it is still hard. If we move further down though, here it gets nice and soft for your elbow, because this is where your arm rests. And then further down, we get plastic again. There's also no lining in the door pockets here, so things will rattle, but there is plenty of space for a normal drinking bottle. Also simple window control and a real door handle. Nice extra feature is this sunshade. Always great when you drive with kids that they have something to block out the sun. That's a good feature to have. Then space-wise, I'm sitting behind an adult now, and you can see there is a nice bit of space for me as a 1.83 m and about 90 kilos. So that's good. Headroom is slightly compromised due to the panoramic roof, but here on the side I have about this much space left, and if I move my head a bit further down to the middle of the car, then there is this much space left. So that's okay. The panoramic roof does bring a lot of light into the car though, so that is quite nice. When I move to the middle, now this is usually quite compromised, and I would say it is indeed slightly, but it is not uncomfortable to sit here. So that's actually quite good. It's not a full sculpted seat like this one, but it is not uncomfortable. I can sit here as an adult for a short journey, no problem. A bit of climate control here in the middle. Nothing too crazy, still manual for adjusting the direction, and then some touch screen here to adjust. This is funny, you can actually lock this from the front. So when your kids are annoying each other or yourself by playing with the air conditioning, you can just lock it and they can't use it. Then the middle seat has an actual headrest, so it is a real seat. You can also see actually here that it is a small version of this seat, but it still has an armrest built in, so we can pull this out, and you can see you can sit here without too much issues, and you're also not really going to sit like this, so that's good too. And you got 2 cup holders that have some rubber on the side but are not adjustable otherwise. So that's a nice touch that it is and a seat and still an armrest, because you probably won't sit here with 3 people full abreast at all times, so that is a good solution. Driving on the highway, driving around the countryside here in Sweden, it's more than fine. It's very capable, it's very quiet, it's very relaxed driving. And that's actually all you want from a car like this. You don't buy a car like this for handling or mountain roads or any of that. This is a functional car that you want to get your family from A to B from, and nothing really more from it. And I think in terms of what the powertrain delivers, it does exactly that. So apart from interface preferences and steering wheel preferences, the overall driving experience is quite pleasant. There's a lot of glass around, especially here in the front. This panoramic roof obviously helps a lot with getting light into the cabin. And overall, it's a pleasant place to be and a pleasant place to operate the vehicle. Because it's a large vehicle, but with 4.70 m plus, it is not enormous. So it's still manageable in and around town. I think I said the same thing about the ID.4. It's a big vehicle with a lot of space inside, very usable space, but it doesn't become enormous that you can't park it anymore. And that's actually, it's clever packaging from Peugeot, that it all fits in this body shell that is, yeah, very usable in and around town, as well as on trips with a lot of people inside. So that's job well done. Yesterday I even rode in the back for a while, and even as an 1m83, 90 plus kilo adult, it is more than fine back there for a few hour journey. So if you buy this car as a family car and your kids sit in the back, they're gonna have a great time there. More than enough space, comfortable, good view out. Obviously, important with EVs is charging. And luckily, the Peugeot e-5008 has plenty of it. So batteries range from 73 to 98 kilowatt hours, which means you have a big variety of range. Charging, you can expect normal 11 kilowatt charging at home, but there is an option for a 22 kilowatt hour charging capacity if you want to install that. There is also sort of semi-fast charging at 160 kilowatts. So depending on the battery that you pick, you can have relatively fast charging when you are on the go for longer road trips. Driving down here in Sweden for the past 2 days, up and down the airport, a bit of countryside roads, a bit of traffic jam, we're seeing range, real world range, varying between sort of 18 and 22 without doing anything too crazy on the highway or any kind of weird high speeds. So that is your real world usage. After 2 days with the new Peugeot e-2008, what kind of conclusion can we reach? Is this the family car to get? I think in many ways it is. It is very flexible on the inside depending on your needs of the day. The outside, I think, is a very stylish proposition, and it does come with all the things that you want. It comes with good tech, it comes with a nice design, it comes with a lot of space inside that is very usable. It is still a Peugeot though, so there is always a bit of a love and hate relationship in terms of if you like this kind of design and if you like the way they handle the inside, especially because there is a lot to choose in this class. You can go for the Volkswagen Group, something like a Skoda Kodiaq, for example. You can even go to the Swedes, where we are right now, and get something like a Volvo XC90, which is admittedly a very different price point, but that's also a big 7-seater option. Personally, I think it is a very compelling package that offers a lot of flexibility in terms of how you use it, and also a lot of flexibility in terms of the drivetrain that you pick. You want long range, you want four-wheel drive, you want hybrid, you want plug-in. There's a lot to choose from, and I think that is a very strong proposition from Peugeot, that it offers that flexibility and it offers a lot to choose in this package. Overall, I think Peugeot has done quite a good job in making this such a compelling package, and I think if you are in the market for a big 7-seater SUV, this is certainly one that should be on your shortlist. And that's all I got for you in this video. Hope you like it, give it a thumbs up if that's the case. If you don't like it, let us know in the comments what we can do better next time. For now, this was Peter. Subscribe to the channel if you want to stay updated, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.